They say myths are just stories, tales told by firelight to keep children from wandering too far into the woods. But every so often, a myth bleeds into reality. And what begins as legend becomes something far more unsettling, a truth we were never meant to know. In the far reaches of the earth, hidden deep within jungles, mountains, and oceans, are creatures that should not exist. Yet, they do. Our journey tonight begins in a remote fishing village in the South Pacific. The locals speak of a shadow in the water, long, serpentine, with eyes that glow like lanterns in the night. Fishermen refuse to sail after dark, not because they believe in sea monsters, but because too many boats have vanished without a trace. For centuries, they called it the Taniwa, a guardian, a demon, or perhaps something worse. When European explorers first heard the stories, they dismissed them as superstition. But in 1977, a Japanese research vessel trawling the waters off New Zealand pulled something strange from the deep. It was massive, 30 feet long, with a thick neck, paddle-like fins, and rotting flesh that seemed to belong to no known creature. The crew photographed it before dumping it back into the sea. Scientists argued. Some said it was a decomposing basking shark. Others were not so sure. To this day, that photograph remains one of the most hotly debated pieces of marine evidence in modern history. Was it the Taniwa, or something that inspired every sea serpent legend we've ever told? We leave the dark waters behind, but not the feeling that something ancient still waits there, just below the waves. Thousands of miles away, in the mountains of Indonesia, miners whisper about another impossible creature. They call it the orang pendek, the short man. Sightings go back hundreds of years. Witnesses describe it as a small, human-like figure covered in short fur, walking upright like a man, but with long, powerful arms. Local tribes insist it is real. They speak of it with the same certainty that you or I might talk about deer or bears. In 2001, British researchers set out to investigate. They didn't find the creature, but they did find footprints. Not ape, not human, something in between. The casts showed toes longer than humans, with an arch unlike anything in modern primates. Then came the bones. Hidden in caves across the island of Flores, archaeologists uncovered the remains of a species scientists would later call Homo floresiensis. Tiny humans who lived alongside our own kind until just 50,000 years ago. Officially, they are extinct. Unofficially, the villagers say otherwise. They say the short man still walks their forests, silent and watching. And if you meet its gaze, you'll feel the hair on your neck rise, because you're looking into the eyes of something that remembers us. Our third step into myth takes us far north, to the frozen tundra of Siberia. Here, in the endless white silence, the Yakut people tell stories of the death worm that slithers beneath the snow. They call it the Olgoikokoi, a creature the length of a man's arm, blood red, with the ability to spit acid and kill from a distance. Western explorers laughed until 1926, when a Soviet expedition vanished without a trace while searching for it. All that was found was their abandoned camp, and in the snow, a long, winding trench, as if something had burrowed through from below. In the years since, multiple teams have reported strange seismic activity in the area, ripples beneath the ground, moving too fast to be caused by shifting ice. One scientist who investigated swore he saw something just under the surface, something that followed their footsteps. He left the tundra and never returned. Even today, nomads crossing that frozen wasteland give certain valleys a wide berth, muttering prayers as they go. And so, from ocean depths to jungle shadows to frozen earth, our myths begin to bleed into fact. But we have only begun to scratch the surface, because the next creature on our list is something you've seen before, in your nightmares, something with a roar that shook ancient skies. And it was not as extinct as we once thought. It begins with a sound, low, guttural, like stone grinding against stone. In the 1920s, deep in the Congo Basin, a missionary named Reverend L. Hughes heard the stories. The locals called it Mokelmbem, the one who stops the flow of rivers. They described a creature larger than any elephant, with a long neck, a tail like a whip, and skin like a crocodile's. Most dismiss such tales as folklore, except for one detail. The witnesses claimed they had seen it with their own eyes. For decades, expeditions followed the whispers, some returning empty-handed, others refusing to speak of what they saw. In 1980, zoologist Roy McCall ventured deep into the Likuala swamps. The air was thick, the water black, the jungle alive with unseen eyes. And then, the sound. A massive shape moved just beyond the reeds. McCall saw only a shadow, but its silhouette matched something thought to have vanished 65 million years ago, a sauropod dinosaur. He never got closer, and perhaps that was for the best. The Congo still swallows more than it reveals. But the people there do not doubt. For them, Mokelmbem is no myth. It's a reminder that extinction might just be another word for hiding. From prehistoric swamps, we step into the skies. Imagine, for a moment, you're a 17th century sailor in the North Atlantic. The sea is calm, but the air grows dark, not from clouds, but from something above. A shadow passes over your ship, blotting out the sun. You look up and see wings. Enormous, membranous, with a hooked beak and eyes like molten gold. For centuries, sailors told of the rock, a bird so massive it could lift an elephant into the air. Many dismissed it as exaggeration, a tale to pass the time at sea. But in the deserts of Madagascar, researchers have found the bones of Epionis, the elephant bird. It stood over 10 feet tall, weighed nearly 1,000 pounds, and laid eggs larger than a human head. Officially, it could not fly. Yet the local legends speak of a second kind, wings as wide as a ship's mast, feathers that could turn a spear. No proof of this flying cousin exists, unless you count the reports from early Arab traders who swore they saw it circle their caravans from above, then vanish into the clouds. And perhaps most unsettling, the eggs of Epionis have been found in places far beyond Madagascar's shores, suggesting that at least one bird, long ago, crossed the seas. Our next creature slithers back into the water, but this time, into waters you think you know. In Norse sagas, it is called Hafgufa, the sea reek, a leviathan so large it could be mistaken for an island. Sailors would anchor on its back, light fires, and then it would sink beneath them, swallowing ship and crew whole. Ridiculous, perhaps, until you hear of the modern-day accounts. Off the coast of Greenland, marine biologists tracking whale migrations recorded an anomaly. An object nearly the size of a blue whale, but with no known movement pattern, sat in one location for weeks. Divers sent to investigate found nothing, until they surfaced in a panic, claiming something opened its mouth beneath them. The sonar readings confirmed it, a massive cavity surrounded by structures like teeth. And then, it was gone. Whether it was a colossal squid, an undiscovered whale, or something older than both, no one can say. But the coordinates of that encounter have been erased from official records. All that remains are the diver's words, "It was waiting for us." By now, you may be thinking these are just coincidences. Animals misunderstood. Stories exaggerated. But each time, the evidence cuts too close to the bone. And in one final place, one last corner of the earth, a creature lives whose existence is not whispered, but proven. And yet, it is so strange, so ancient, that it might as well be a myth come to life. The island is called Komodo, a place of heat and stone, where the earth itself seems to breathe fire. For centuries, the people here spoke of the aura, a land dragon, massive, armored in scales, with a venomous bite and an appetite for flesh. Early Western explorers heard the tales and laughed. Dragons were for fairy tales, not science. But in 1910, Lieutenant Van Stein of the Dutch colonial army led an expedition inland. What he found erased the line between legend and reality. The Komodo dragon is the largest living lizard on Earth, stretching over 10 feet, weighing more than a man, and capable of killing water buffalo with a single bite. It is real. It is deadly. And it has been here all along. Even now, scientists are only beginning to understand how it hunts, stalking prey for hours, delivering a venom-laced bite, then waiting as the toxins and blood loss do their work. In the myths, the aura was said to guard hidden treasures. In truth, it guards something else entirely, proof that sometimes our monsters walk in plain sight. We have traveled through oceans and jungles, across tundras and deserts, and into the skies. We have seen serpents that may yet swim the deep, little people who remember our kind, birds that could carry away an elephant, and dragons that breathe, not fire, but death itself. 7 creatures, each rooted in legend, each with a shadow in reality. But here is the question that lingers. How many others remain unseen? Because for every myth we've confirmed, a dozen others hide in the dark corners of the map. In 2012, satellite images of the Congo revealed something strange, an area of forest where the canopy had been disturbed, as if something massive had moved beneath it. In the Pacific, a deep-sea submersible recorded a silhouette that dwarfed even the largest sperm whale, but the footage was classified before it could be made public. In Siberia, researchers studying permafrost thaw have uncovered bones unlike anything in a fossil record, bones too fresh to be ancient. And in the jungles of South America, there are still tribes who refuse to speak of certain rivers, because to name the thing that lives there is to draw it near. So perhaps the real truth is this: myths are not born from nothing. They are warnings, carved into story, passed down through generations. Warnings about creatures that lived, and may still live. Creatures that walk the thin line between memory and nightmare. And the next time you hear a strange sound in the night, or see something move in the corner of your vision, remember, every legend has a seed of truth. And sometimes, the truth has teeth.